Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, along with Tariq Spence. How you doing, man?
If only people knew what we talk about off air.
Well, I said, we might actually talk about it on air.
Uh-oh.
And Pat Duffy, the newly snipped Pat Duffy. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an honor and pleasure to be here, and I'm really looking forward to never having to worry about that ever again.
All right, changing the subject, tell us about the uniform.
Oh, well, it's Olympic basketball time. It's Olympic time. The Chuck Daly Memorial Charles Barkley Dream Team jersey. I mean, come on. Anytime you see a big guy wearing 14, you got to buy that jersey, right?
Very nice. Well, it kind of leads us in, Tariq, to our first topic. We can't duck COVID.
No.
It's still an issue. It's an issue with the Olympic Games. And what I thought was the biggest story to come out this week was the SEC football commissioner coming out and saying, postponements are off the table. If you can't field the team due to this virus, you forfeit.
Well, I think it's interesting, the fact that we're still pushing through. As this is being recorded, we're still pushing through with the Olympics, and I think we're going to get to the end. It's going to be a hard 3 weeks, but we're going to get there. Same thing with the SEC. I just find it interesting that there's no plan for this. I think there was this whole thing last year of how we're going to handle it. We seem to be wanting to push through COVID, not realizing it's still around. It's still a world issue. People went on vacation, came back, got it. There's a lot of different people that are living in horrible conditions across the world. Who knows if those athletes interact with them and then they come to Tokyo and then they have a problem. There's a lot of different prime ministers, people that do not want to go to Tokyo, that don't need to, they're not athletes. There's not going to be any spectators. So there's this belief though, and I'll transition over to the SEC. There's this belief of just play it, just keep going. Just keep doing it. Let's get it out there. We've got the ratings. We want the ratings. The SEC is doing the same thing. We don't care. You guys have a team or you don't have a team. We're moving forward. That's just the way it is, which actually creates more opportunities for players who do get vaccinated or don't get vaccinated to possibly sit back and wait and see if there's enough players to play a game. So they might expand rosters or leave football players available at any given time to be on a team.
Pat, I saw that in an entirely different light. I saw the SEC commissioner gets up there. What hits the Deep South harder than football? Like nothing. Mm-hmm. So they're being really proactive about it. It says, look, deal with it. He's taking a position of responsibility. He's essentially threatening them. Get vaccinated, pay the price, and risk a forfeit. I think, especially geographically where he is, that this is a tremendous thing to have done.
I think that I am way more cynical than you are. I look at this as, okay, we're going to do it exactly the way Tariq put it, but let's say that's the case. Let's say you're right, and okay, I can applaud him for doing that. I don't believe there isn't a backup plan for the SEC, because show me Alabama missing 2 straight weeks of games, and then all of a sudden your best opportunity to win a national championship as a conference flies out the window. I bet you dollars to donuts that if the top teams in the SEC start missing games because of COVID infections or there's a massive spread, then all of a sudden, it turns out we had a plan the whole time, because you need to be represented on the national stage. And I mean, look, Nick Saban ain't going to be around much longer, right? The guy's getting up there in age, and you got this quarterback that's coming in that's already made $1 million, right? I mean, no, bro, you cannot really believe that they're not going to cancel or postpone these games.
Well, nevertheless, though, just to get out there and say it, it's going to make people think twice. And to your point, we did see that with Ohio State last year, where they amended the Big Ten rules to allow Ohio State to get into the playoff.
Well, this is all about the contracts and the commitments and the teams that they make. I think the main thing here is just to try to get as many people vaccinated as possible. We already know colleges want their kids vaccinated. They want their staff vaccinated. There's still this pushback. I know we'll get to Cole Beasley a little bit later on, but there's still this anti-vaccination thing, which I understand where people have those rights to do so. But this is really just about the business keeping moving forward. And that's the SEC and keeping those contracts alive. And I think you're going to have a number of players that are kind of like, well, this kid doesn't want to get vaccinated. I'll get vaccinated. I'll stay on the team, or I'll stay around the team. Maybe I'll get a chance to play this week. Gives more opportunities. So they'll have kids available to play. I think they'll loosen up, like Duffy said, maybe the scholarship thing, maybe somebody's eligible, not eligible. Mm-hmm. They'll find ways to get a team on a field to play a game.
And to say that Louisiana and Arkansas and Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia, and to say it like you mean it, and the rest of the conferences are likely to follow suit, I think, at least early on, it's all good. This is the Rochester Press Box, and we're talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
the thing that is not getting nearly enough play, the Buffalo Bills don't have a starting quarterback. In fact, we don't have any clue as to who the Buffalo Bills starting quarterback would be. How weird is it that of all of the years, because every year the discussion is who's going to be the starting quarterback in Buffalo. Training camp, we're going to talk about this stuff. Nobody's really talking about it at this point because you have a guy in Nate Peterman who I think most Bills fans are done with. They want to move on from, but the coaching staff seems to be in love with this guy. He has a legitimate chance to start over free agent A.J. Mccarron, who we all assume was going to be the starting quarterback, and then minicamp started and he kind of fell to the wayside, and now there's whispers about could he even make this team. Then you have, Allen, the star future quarterback of this Buffalo Bills team that we assumed was going to be sitting the bench to get ready. That's what we were told was going to happen. But now all of a sudden has been thrust in a position to be starting opening day. This is the most exciting quarterback scenario maybe in the last 15 years at St. John Fisher for the Buffalo Bills. Why am I the only one talking about it right now?
Well, we do it every week here.
Well, I'm just, but like the DNC or the Buffalo News or whatever, like you remember for years of Flutie and Johnson and Craig Nall. There was a whole week of Craig Nall discussion. And now we're just going to be like, we'll see what happens.
So when do you think this clarifies itself? Like how deep into training camp is it going to be before, under training camp, but the exhibition season, before we actually know who they're going to start?
I think that the start of the third preseason game will give you a huge tell as to who your starting quarterback is going to be.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk Buffalo Bills. Pat, the week we've all been waiting for.
Yep.
Training camp begins. What are you looking forward most to seeing?
I'm not looking at the Bills at all. I'm looking at the teams around the Buffalo Bills. It's such a weird feeling to have complete confidence in what's going on in this team. We know the offense is good. You added Emmanuel Sanders. We'll see how that goes. A couple of question marks about the tight end position. Is Dawson Knox the guy? Is there a deal in training camp to bring Zach Ertz from the Eagles like they've been saying they were going to do forever? I'm interested to see if they get Josh Allen's deal done before the season starts, right? Because do you want to risk anything like that happening? No, but I'll be honest with you, man. My eyes are more on the training camps in Kansas City, in Baltimore, in Tennessee, to see what those teams look like because, they're bringing back the same team essentially they had last year, plus Star Lotulelei, right? He's back. That's going to help up the defense. I'm confident what the Bills got.
I love that Dorsey comes out this week and says, man, you got to see Sanders. He's great, it's like, and he's competing for playing time with him. But, if the wide receiver core is even better, there's something.
I have no problems with the Buffalo Bills offense, except for the running game. You knew where I was going to go with this, Duffy. I'm concerned about that because you know full well you're going to need to run the football, especially late in the year when it gets a little bit colder. Hopefully, you will find some sort of veteran, some sort of combination of 4 or 5 running backs, which is where the NFL is going right now. It's not running back heavy, so you can go a little bit deep. You can get a couple of guys. Some guys will get waived, so you'll pick up a few players there, but you got to run the football.
I don't think you need to run the football. It's not 1984 anymore. We're not taking fullbacks in the first round. This ain't the Jets anymore, man. We don't need to run the football. It wasn't lack of running game where the Bills got blown out by the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. It was the inability to stop the run and the pass rush getting to Josh Allen. Look, I understand it's a piece of the puzzle and it all gets together. Zach Moss is healthy. Devin Singletary put on 140 pounds of muscle in the offseason. You got a kid who went off against the Dolphins, Antonio Williams, the last regular season game. He's not even going to make this team. I think it's better than you think it is, Tariq.
All right. No, the running game, it was a puzzle to me all last year because I felt deep down that it was a decision by the offensive coordinator to not run the ball as opposed to we can't run it.
Yeah. Well, they ran everything through Allen, and it worked. To their benefit, it actually worked. You're going to probably do the same thing again, which worries me about that deal. I think you were mentioning earlier, Duffy, about making sure that he's set, you're good to go, there's nothing to worry about, just go play football. I just think you've got to get there with all these different concerns about COVID, with all these different concerns about what's going on with the league and sports going forward. I just think time is your enemy right now. You just want to get to week 1, play these games, and move forward. You've been waiting how many months to get to this point? And now it's kind of like, all right, we're at camp. Let's just get these guys healthy. Let's keep everybody safe and move forward. But I'm excited for the Bills. They've got to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, I hate to jinx it. They got to win.
What are you doing? Why would you? You don't have to do anything.
Yes, they do.
What is your year after that? They have a 2 to 3 year window right now. You don't have to do it this season.
You only really have to re-sign Josh Allen. You only have to is to re-sign that guy.
You re-sign Josh Allen. Look, Mahomes signed that massive contract. They went back to the Super Bowl, and they're the Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl again this year. You've got a 3-year window after the contract is signed. What are you doing to me? Why are you doing this to me?
You know what the NFL means. Not for very long. You know full well that 3 or 4 years, the window is there, and then it closes very quickly. So we'll see how Kansas City does this year.
You put a V in the NFL, I'm just saying.
We are the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, it's next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. This segment of the Press Box brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, we got a new NBA champion, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Congratulations to the city of Milwaukee. Congratulations to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Congratulations to PJ Tucker, who I'll get into in unfinished business. I just think it's interesting how this all sort of came together. The Bucks were, at one point, I think Charles Barkley called them one of the dumbest teams in the NBA playoffs. And at that time, I don't remember who they played. I think it was the Brooklyn Nets. He was absolutely right. I don't know if that comment either propelled them to play a lot better and understand it, but look at everything they overcame. Your number one star basically is being counted at the free throw line every single time he's on the road, was able to mentally get through that. He wasn't hindered by his free throw shooting. He played well, 50 points. They waited 50 years. Congratulations to the Bucks. I think it's a great sort of story. Then he talks about the super teams right after winning, where he basically said, I could have joined a super team. I don't want to really throw it out there like that. I didn't.
That's easy.
He said that's the easy
way.
And doubled down with it. Like, this is the hard way. So he did it the hard way. He did it his way. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, I like it that it's Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, Milwaukee's great. It's fantastic. I love the city of Milwaukee. I've gotten in a lot of trouble with the city of Milwaukee back in the day. But, no, like, I mean, you're totally right. Like, when this team was good, they were good. Mm-hmm. When this team was bad, oh my God, were they bad? And I guess we have the next however many years to figure out, was Chris Paul that impressive in this playoff series, or did he just manage to run into teams that were playing him the wrong way? Because it seems like once Milwaukee figured out Chris Paul, the series was over. And even more impressive with Giannis, he did it alone.
Yeah.
They knew, right? Everybody was coming at Giannis, and there was nothing they could do to stop him. Back-to-back 40-point games, 50 in the closeout game. Show me another performance like that where you are the guy. We know it's coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Written off twice. The Nets had him beat. The Suns had him beat. Everyone wrote him off, and the coach was fired. If the coach doesn't win the NBA championship, I think he does get fired.
Yeah.
I don't think he can do it now. Like it or not, the New York Yankees have banned a fan for Major League Baseball has banned a fan for life for hitting a Boston Red Sox outfielder with a baseball.
I'm curious to know how many Yankees fans are banned for life from that stadium that are in there 3 times a season watching games inside New Yankee Stadium, right? Like, how do you ban a guy for life, in all sincerity? Like, do you have the facial recognition technology? And if I grow a beard, does that stop the facial recognition technology? Like, you cannot tell me that you're going to invest that much money in that stadium to keep a guy out who threw a baseball at a Boston Red Sox. And here's the other thing, too. All right, now look. Well, no, I'm just saying, where the heck did all of this grace from Yankees fans come from all of a sudden? Because if this happened 20 years ago, because I'm looking at Twitter, well, it's happening live. How dare he, scumbag, get him out of the stadium. I agree with that. I don't have a horse in this race. You're going to tell me that the majority of Yankees fans are like, oh, how dare he throw something at a Boston Red Sox?
Well, the thing that's ironic is that, like, the ball player provided the weapon. Verdugo threw a ball into the stands, and they threw it back at him and hit him, and all this happens. And again, to your point of the fan, facial recognition, What if he should? Does he try to get into a Texas Rangers game down in Arlington?
I don't know. I don't know how you're going to be able to police that in every single stadium going forward. But it just goes to show you about who is it again? The Yankees and the Red Sox. How many different times? Something new to the rivalry. Look up Jason Varitek's wife. I guess had an incident apparently with somebody coming out of the stadium. This has been this thing for a very, very long time. It just adds another chapter to the story.
Hey, you're a Mets fan. Quickly, trade deadline coming in 10 seconds. Who do you want to see the Mets get?
Anybody who can throw a pitch and not get injured like Jason DeGrom.
We're the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law and Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McCarron's Restaurant in Fairport. McCarron's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McCarron's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. Pat Duffy starts.
I couldn't stop watching the celebration Tuesday night and Wednesday morning happening in Milwaukee after the Bucks won the NBA championship. And you know why? Because I feel it right here. Because Milwaukee is the Western New York of NBA things, right? It's a small market. You got teams, fans forever and ever that went to the arena knowing that this team wasn't going to make the playoffs and do well. And you watch prospect after prospect after prospect get drafted, bomb out, and leave. And every year you reset thinking maybe this is it. Probably not, but this is going to be the year, and over and over. Then you end up with your star. It takes one person, one player to turn it around. The parallels between Giannis and Josh Allen are insane. Later picked than they should have been. This kid's going to be a bust for absolutely everybody. He's a physical freak, but what do you do with him? Giannis wins the Finals MVP after winning actual MVPs. And you watch this blue-collar, small-market city erupt in celebration. It felt like I was watching a preview of what I'm going to be doing come February. After Josh Allen, right, Tariq, takes the Bills and wins the Super Bowl.
And I'm the jinx. Great. All right. You okay?
Water, I'm sorry.
So the Milwaukee Bucks win the championship, right? Congratulations to them. But I find it interesting that there were two different roads to a championship that actually started in Houston. If you remember, PJ Tucker and James Harden were both on the same Houston team. Harden didn't want to be there at all and let everybody know he didn't want to be there. Where does he go? To a super team in Brooklyn and the Nets with a chance to win a championship, basically writing it on the championship trophy before they even got there. What happens to PJ Tucker? He sits and he waits and he plays for the Houston Rockets and he doesn't like it, but he grits and bears it and ends up on a Milwaukee Bucks team that people believe have a chance to go to the NBA Finals, but not quite sure. What happens in the playoffs? They meet. Great meeting between the two. Goes 7 games. Down to the final wire. Who wins? The Milwaukee Bucks, and of course go on to win the championship. For James Harden, he committed to going in and working in Brooklyn, but it just didn't work out. Injuries and whatnot resulted in it. All I'm basically saying is that PJ Tucker worked his butt off to get to a situation so he can win a ring and put it all on the line the entire playoffs. He is my playoffs MVP, even though Giannis is the finals MVP.
Well, let's stay on subject. Dateline, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Deer District, Party Central. The celebration following the Milwaukee Bucks championship on Tuesday night reminded me of one of the reasons that I got into sportscasting in the first place. Sports can be pretty spectacular. Where else can an adult react to an outcome with complete abandon, overwhelming joy? You're supposed to say at the birth of your child. But when was the last time that you saw new parents simultaneously scream at the top of their lungs, burst into tears, and douse the obstetrician in champagne? I didn't think so. It's just different. My own athletic history lacks relevance here, so that I had to find secondhand satisfaction in a U.S. Open Cup soccer championship played in Columbus, Ohio, and an Amerks Calder Cup hockey championship won in Portland, Maine. I saw 2 no-hitters at Frontier Field, one for and one against, and there have been countless celebrations surrounding high school and collegiate victories. But any attachment to all of these events for me is both peripheral and fleeting. I mean, how does it feel to be in the middle of that celebration? I will never really know. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show. Pat, it leads me to wonder about getting in the boxing ring, if there was any kind of the kind of feeling that I'm talking about.
I mean, it was a lot of adrenaline. I will say, though, to what you said earlier, I did scream at the top of my lungs and burst into tears at the OB when my wife was giving birth, but there was no champagne. It was strictly fear.
Oh, come
it's
on.
only
I had
2/3.
champagne at mine. That was all good. Highland did a great job. All 3 of my championships, kids, are there.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, you all, for watching. We'll see you next week in the Rochester Press Box.